All right, so I'm gonna say something, and I'm gonna keep this real, and I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. Sometimes I just play too much.
Greetings, y'all, and welcome to See Things Above TV. I'm your host, Lucci Cooney. So Kirk Franklin has done some sort of year in review. He's reviewing his 2024 and talking about different stuff. And then he answers a specific question that people always have about his stage antics. Okay, why does he do all this dancing stuff? It seems to be what he is dealing with in the video we're going to review here. So we're going to check out what he had to say, man. If y'all like content like this, y'all know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications. Do all the stuff that lets YouTube know that you like content like this. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and see what Mr. Franklin here had to say about this whole situation.
All right, so I'm gonna say something, and I'm gonna keep this real, and I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. Sometimes I just play too much. Sometimes I just be doing too much. I do. I play too much. I'm friends with these people. We have fun backstage, and I don't know how to separate the backstage Kirk from on stage Kirk. Like, I am who I am, wherever I am. These are my peoples, and we act silly backstage and have fun, and I don't know how to turn that off. And I gotta learn it because I know that it can be offensive to some people. But sometimes I just play too much. And in that moment, I was playing too much. I shouldn't.
Okay, so Kirk Franklin at least acknowledges that he plays too much, okay? He describes it as playing too much when, I mean, for the rest of us who look at this, it's beyond simply playing too much, okay? This is beyond simply playing too much. You are doing inappropriate things with women who are not your wife, okay? That's like, let's just start there. And that, I believe, is one of the Clark sisters in this clip. I may be wrong, but I think that's one of the Clark sisters who is even older than Kirk himself. So just a decorum and a respect, even for an elder, is lacking in this clip here that you see. And obviously, we know that that's not the only incident. That is not the only incident of him dancing and doing stuff that honestly just looks raunchy. It's raunchy dancing that doesn't have anything to do with gospel music whatsoever. It has nothing to do with it. And he describes it as playing too much, and then he cannot separate what he does backstage. These are his friends. He goofs around, whatever, with them. He can't separate the backstage Kirk from the Kirk that should be on stage. And that right there is even a bigger problem. That's a huge problem, that he's doing this at all, that you're behaving this way at all and thinking it's acceptable is the real problem here. And he's going to try to, explain this a little bit more, but he actually doesn't even see that there shouldn't be a Kirk, a backstage Kirk, and another Kirk, and this Kirk, and you should be a person of integrity at all times, because it's not about who in the public sees you. It's about what God sees, and God sees everything. So your life is just plain and bare before the Lord, and you should be living in a way that glorifies him no matter where you're at, backstage or in front of people or whatever. But he can't seem to see that. So let's continue with this clip, man. I mean, man.
I've been playing out there in front of y'all. I should have kept that to myself and have fun with them the way I do when we be acting a fool. But sometimes I get on my own nerve. And when I was doing it, it seemed fine. But when I saw the clip, yeah, it's too much. So early this year, I had the great opportunity to go to Jamaica. Beautiful place. And I had a chance to perform. Watch. I am aware now that my choice of attire, which as a team we thought was going to be fine, being outside in the weather, was going to be something that would not come across as disrespectful. And since I've spent most of my career dancing and moving around and jumping on stage, that I didn't know that I would ever do anything that would ever offend anyone in any community. but it did. And because it did, I sincerely apologize. I sincerely apologize because I never want to get to a place that I can't learn what I need to do better, what I can do different to make sure that as I grow as a man, grow physically or in any aspect, that I'm always being humble enough and submissive enough to hear people and their concerns about anything being bigger than the message of Jesus. Because it doesn't matter what my goal and intent is, if I'm louder than the message of Jesus, then I failed.
So after all that backlash for what happened in Jamaica and, his whole performance there, all that Kirk Franklin took away was that I dressed inappropriately. That's what he took away from the whole thing, that people were complaining because he was wearing a tank top, and that's why it was offensive to people. Well, that may have been one aspect of it. Some people certainly voiced their displeasure at that, folks in Jamaica. And there's a lot of clips on that of people being interviewed after the show and saying that, hey, we didn't like what he wore. But that wasn't the issue. Again, he's missing the point. The issue is, dude, you were like humping the air. That's what the issue is. There's like your dancing is not, it has nothing to do with gospel music, man. You're having a great time. Do that. Why don't you just do that in the gym when you're working out and you're by yourself and you feel great about the gains and all that stuff? Do that in the gym. And clearly he, alluded to the fact here that there is a sense in where, like he said, growing physically as a man. So he knows that, okay, he's working out. He's been working out. Maybe he changed his workout program probably a few years back and started to actually gain like real muscle and whatever it is. And there is an element of that stuff being on display now. And this happens to a lot of people when you start working out, or when you get these, you reach a point where there's progress now and you kind of want to show off. And he alluded to that in there, like, okay, I got to be humble. I got to do that, all that stuff. And yes, obviously you should be humble in that case. And you're still supposed to be a musical minister, of the gospel, man. So whether you're making these gains or not, you don't need to be putting stuff on display. And so probably there was some element of that in there in the decision making too, where it's like, man, this makes me look good, so I'm going to wear it. And of course, we know he wears a lot of tight stuff too. Like Kirk Franklin wears unnecessarily tight clothing, and you just got to wonder, like, man, like, dude, you're like in your 50s now. Like, what are we doing here? Why are you wearing this super tight stuff here, man? Who's this for? Because this ain't for the Lord. This ain't for the Lord. And it's definitely not for the audience. So this is something else. So he fails to see the real issues with his, attire and with his provocative, inappropriate dancing. He's missed the complete point of everything. You need to conduct yourself in a way that doesn't draw attention to you, but makes people focus on the music, and not just the music, but the Christ of the music, right? And that's a whole nother conversation that needs to be had, because a lot of gospel music is really man-centered music. A lot of gospel music has more man-centered elements where it's like praising God for what he's done for you. And we're talking, miracles and this, that, and the third. And, it's all of that stuff, or claiming miracles, or, all that kind of stuff. But it's not necessarily truly just worshiping God for his worthiness of being worshiped, and for simply saving your soul. Like, you just don't hear much of that in gospel music. So that's another conversation to be had. But all that to say, man, like, he's missing the point completely. He is completely missing the point, and I wish that somehow his eyes would be opened. But unfortunately, it seems that is not the case. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And if then you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things that are above, not on things that are on earth. All right. God bless y'all, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.